Hello everyone, Swez here, back with another video. In this video, I want to talk about the recent immigration changes that have been proposed by the UK government. I'm shooting this video on the 18th of May, but last week on the 12th and on the 13th of May, there was an announcement by the UK government, by the Prime Minister, Keir Starmer, talking about some of the changes that will be made in regards to immigration. So, on this channel, must have been 2 months ago or a month ago, I posted, I think, 4 videos to do with different types of visas here in the UK. So I posted a video talking about the skilled worker visa. I talked about the student visa. I talked about the graduate visa, and I talked about the health and care worker visa. So all these types of visas have been affected by the recent changes that have been proposed by the UK government. So I was like, you know what? I would like to share my insights or share my thoughts on this, and just also let you guys know that there have been these changes. Now, two things that I want to make mention of. If you watched any of the videos that I posted 2 months ago, I said one thing which is very important, and I even said it in each video. I said these rules and regulations, they do change from time to time. So you just don't have to stick to whatever I said in the video and be like, you know what, this is what Wesley said, I'm going to apply for a visa. No, you should always read on the UK government website. There's always information on the changes that have been made. That's the first thing that I want to say. The second thing I want to say is I am not an immigration officer. I am not an immigration consultant. So this is just a disclaimer to say these are just my thoughts on what has been published, and nothing to do with legal advice or anything like that. So don't take what I say here as legal advice in any shape, form, or size, right? So let's talk about a little bit of a background on why maybe these changes have been proposed by the UK government. So it is estimated that in the year 2023, which is the year that I came in the UK, approximately 1 million immigrants relocated or came to the UK to stay or maybe to study or so. So that's close to 1 million. So I think it's around 960 or so. So you can just imagine that's a whole lot of people, right? That's massive numbers. So what the UK is trying to do is to reduce net migration into the UK. So they're trying to come up with systems as well as measures that will kind of like curb this migration into the UK, right? So in the year 2023, 1 million. I was among the 1 million in year 2023. So I added the net migration 2023 a lot. But anyway, so I'll talk about the different types of visas and how they have been affected. So what I'll do is I'll show you straight from the UK government website. But also what you can do is there's a white paper that was published, which is public. This is 82 pages or so. You have to read that if you're thinking of coming to the UK, or even if you stay in the UK, you have to read this because it is affecting you even if you stay here, right? So it's not only affecting those that would like to come, but also those who stay in the UK already. Yeah. So what I'll do is I'll share my screen and I'll go through um, a few of those changes, and then I'll share my insights. Or what I'll do is I'll look at the changes and then I'll share my insights. Instead of saying I'll look at all the changes and then share my insights at the end, I'll just look at the changes and then share my insights right on the spot. So let me show you a few changes that have been made on the on immigration. So yeah, so there've been a lot of whether I'll say backlash or a lot of thoughts. Let me just say a lot of thoughts on this. Some are saying, oh, maybe those are a little bit strict. Some are saying, oh, maybe you shouldn't have done that now. So there's just a lot. So at the end of this video, I'll talk about my final thoughts on this. Like, what do I think about this whole thing? Like, what are my thoughts? So let me share my screen. If you can see my screen, that's so yeah. If you can see my screen, that's the page that says immigration white paper to reduce migration and strengthen border. So it says radical reforms to Britain's immigration system, restoring controls to our borders and reducing record high levels of net migration have been set out. All right. So as I said, this was published on the 12th of May. So today is the 18th of May that I'm shooting this video. So we'll just go through this. Actually, this is kind of like the summary, to be honest. So let me show you the 82 pages that I talked about. So this is the 82 pages. that I talked about. But then there's just a lot. I actually highlighted a few sections that I'll talk about in this video. And yeah, so these are the 82 pages. So let me talk about the summary. So it says, measures unveiled in the immigration white paper published today on the 12th of May will reshape our immigration system towards those who contribute most to economic growth, with higher skills standards for graduates and workers. So it says new requirements on employers to boost domestic training will end the reliance on international recruitment, restoring order to a failed system that saw net migration quadruple between 2019 and 2023. So, key policies in the 82-page blueprint titled Restoring Control over the Immigration System include the following. So, number one, it says reversing the long term trend of increasing international recruitment at the expense of skills and training. The second point says the labor market evidence group will be established, drawing on the best data available in order to make informed decisions about the state of labor market and the role that different policies should play, rather than always relying on migration. So departments across government will engage sector bodies as part of this approach. All right. So as you can see, that's kind of like just giving you a background of what the UK government plans to do in terms of um, um, migration. So the good thing about what I shared in the past 2 months is that they've already made a summary of what I wanted to share. So pretty much I won't go to the 82 pages. I'll just go to this website. I can go to the white paper, but most of the time I'll just be on this website. So as I said, I talked about the skilled worker visa. I talked about the health and care worker visa. I talked about the graduate visa, and then I talked about the student visa. So those um, and then these are the changes that have been made regarding um, these visas. So I'll also talk about the English language, because there's a video that I did on this. So let's talk about the skilled worker visa. So they're saying the skilled worker threshold will be raised, and skilled must mean skilled. So the UK government will lift the level of skilled workers back to RQF 6, that's graduate level. So that's a first degree and above. Salary thresholds will rise. So it says the immigration salary list, which gives people discounts from salary thresholds, will be abolished. So it says access to the points based immigration system will be limited to occupations where there have been long term shortages on a time limited basis, where the Migration Advisory Committee has advised it is justified, where there is a workforce strategy in place, and where employers seeking to recruit from abroad are committed to playing um, their part in increasing recruitment from domestic workforce. So, if you watch the video that I did on skilled worker visa, that was in April or at the end of March. So, on the salary threshold, it was around 39,000 or so. Now they're saying this will be raised, not yet sure to what extent it will be raised, but this will be raised. And they're also talking about you will be hired if you have graduate level, that's the first degree. And yeah, so that's the main change that I would say in terms of the skilled worker visa that I talked about. This is a big change, as you can see. I don't know. The key thing would be what would be the threshold in terms of the pay or the salary, right? That would be the key thing that will determine the changes. So that's the first thing that we'll talk about. So what are my thoughts on this? On this, I'll say, to be honest, sometimes for people like myself, we're in a position that I really can't say much. Like, you know what, this is the UK government. This is what they're deciding to do. I don't think I can come in and say, you know what, you shouldn't do that, or maybe you shouldn't do this. You get what I mean? So I don't have much to say. All right, let's look at other social care. So it says end. So this is like putting an end. It's not like reducing or whatever, but putting an end. So it says end of end overseas recruitment for social care visas. So this is under the health and care worker visa, which I talked about. In line with our wider reforms to skilled thresholds, we will choose social care visas. Sorry, we will close social care visas to new application from. Sorry, let me just read that again. End overseas recruitment for social care visas. In line with our wider reforms to skilled thresholds, we will close social care visas to new applications from abroad, which means they will recruit within the UK. So which means they will end. I saw somewhere they said end mass recruitment specifically for this type of visa. So that's putting an end. It's not like reducing, but this is like putting an end to say they want to focus on the domestic workforce and upskill it and train it so that they can be able to they should be absorbed within the system. So that's a change. So is they're saying for a transition period until 2028, while the workforce strategy is being developed and rolled out, we will permit visa extensions and in-country switching for those already here. This will be kept under review. So this is for those that are already in the UK, well and good. It's kind of like you can just switch visas. But if you're outside the UK, for you to apply for a new visa, that may mean it will be put to a stop, right? Based on what they're saying. So let's go to the study visa. I did the student visa. So they're saying we will strengthen the requirements that all sponsoring institutions must meet in order to recruit international students. So if you remember, I said you need to be given an offer by a university that sponsors. Sorry, I said you need to be given an offer by a university, and then you'll be given a CAS number. So these are sponsoring institutions, right? So they're saying they'll strengthen requirements for these institutions, the universities. So they're also saying we will introduce new interventions for sponsors who are close to failing their sponsor duties, including placing them on an action plan designed to improve their compliance and imposing limits on the number of new international students they can recruit while they are subject to those plans. I think that's straightforward. Now, this is a key thing. So I also did a video on the graduate visa, which I said once you have graduated here in the UK, you can be able to work for 2 years. That's 24 months. Now, based on this statement, the last statement here, it says we will reduce the ability for graduates to remain in the UK after their studies to a period of 18 months. So that is like moving from 24 months to 18 months. So we take out what 6 months out of it. So yeah, so yeah, if you have been thinking of coming to the UK to study here in the UK, and maybe in your mind you've been saying, you know what, after I finish my studies, I'll stay in the UK for the next 2 years. As you can see, it will be changed to 18 months. So yeah, you may just want to think about that. But yeah, as you can see, there isn't much on this study visa, like not many changes. So I think that's okay, I'd say. So talking about family here, I don't think I'll cover this. I hardly know much about like this, so I want to cover this. So I'll talk about another thing that I'll talk about is the English language. So they're saying they'll introduce new English language requirements across a broader range of immigration routes for both main applicants and their dependents to ensure a better knowledge of English, including an assessment of improvements over time. Now, let me just say one thing. When I was applying for my visa, I did not do the whole English thing. Now, when I was applying for the skilled worker visa, when I was applying for the student visa in 2019, I showed a letter from my university. That was Poly, which is Mobus now, right? That's what I use for me to prove that I know how to speak English, right? As I am speaking to you now. That's what I used, right? But then when I was applying for the second visa, they said, have you ever shown or have you ever given us proof that you are able to speak English like in the first visa application? I said yes, which meant in this new visa, I did not have to prove that I'm able to speak English, right? So when I was applying for the visa for my wife as a dependent, she did not have to prove that she's able to speak English because she's joining me, who was already in the UK. So she did not have to prove it. But now, as you can see, what they're saying is you will have to prove that you're able to speak English as a dependent as well, right? So yeah, it's becoming, I wouldn't say tricky, but yeah, it's becoming something. Yeah, that's what I can say, guys. But yeah, so another one which I haven't talked about this on this channel, but I caught my attention, so I'll talk about it. So it said end settlement and citizenship. So what happens is, or what has been happening is, if you stay in the UK for 5 consecutive years, you can apply for what is known as the indefinite leave to remain. So this is like you're getting an indefinite stay in the UK, right? Because after that, I think after 12 months after getting the indefinite leave to remain, you can be able to apply for your citizenship or maybe your British passport. Now, it only takes 5 years for you to get the indefinite leave to remain, or it used to take 5 years. Let me put it that way. But now, as you can see, one of the changes they're saying it will take close to, not close to, it will take 10 years. Let me just read what they've said. So, end settlement and citizenship. So it says double the standard qualifying period for a settlement to 10 years. Expand the points based system to both our settlement and citizenship rules. So they are based on contribution to the UK, with further details to be set out to Parliament by the end of this year. So as you can see, it means for you to get a British citizenship, it may mean you may have to stay in the UK for not 5, but for 10 years, 10 solid years for you to get. I forget that. So what that means is if you came on if you come on a 3-year visa, it means you have to renew maybe 3 times or maybe 4 times for you to get the indefinite leave to remain. Or if you came on a 5-year visa like myself, it means you have to renew maybe once, yeah, after you finish the first mark, and then you go on. So let me see. As I said, this is a summary of the changes. And let me just see if there's a few things that I'd want to say from the 82 page, which you may want to check. You may want to check out. You can easily download it from the UK government website. You can just Google, let's say, UK government white paper on immigration. You'll be able to see it, right? So I highlighted this on the skilled workers raising the threshold. I think I already talked about the getting to the graduate level, and yeah, this which is the one that they've underlined here. They're saying we'll lift the level for skilled workers back to RQF 6 and above. That's the graduate level or postgrad level. So yeah, you can go watch, or not watch. You can go read the whole of this. It gives background. It gives the statistics. It gives everything that you would like to know based on the changes that the UK government is making. So yeah, that's it, guys. So what are my final thoughts on this? To be honest, as I said, there's some other things that they're beyond your control, or they're beyond your reach. Like this, to be honest, I can't do anything else to change this thing. I can't in my powers, right? But even I don't know. So I don't have much to say on this, but these are the changes that you may want to take note of. And yeah, maybe consider if you're thinking of coming to the UK, maybe you may want to think, should I really go to the UK, or maybe I should think of another country. That is, if you really want to leave your country, or maybe you should just stay in your home country, wherever you come from, right? So I thought I'd just share on this. So what I'll do is I'll put links of the white paper, and I'll put a link of the page that I was reading from on the description box, so that you can be able to read on yourself and be able to understand these things. So as I said in the videos that I uploaded like a month ago or two, I said these visa rules and regulations do change from time to time. Who knows, maybe this can also change in the next few months or in the next few years. So these things keep changing from time to time, right? So I thought I would share this, and I hope to see you guys in the next video. Peace.